Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a term you have probably seen popping up everywhere: plant-based eating. It's become this huge trend, right? But what does it actually mean? And more importantly, could it be right for you? Well, let's break it all down. But first, before we get into the weeds, I have a quick question for you. What did you eat today? No, seriously, think about it for a second. Your answer, whatever it is the perfect place to start, because this whole conversation is really about the small choices we make every single day. All right, first things first, let's get on the same page and figure out what plant-based actually means. And I promise you, it is about so much more than just eating salads for the rest of your life. So, what is a plant-based diet? At its very core, it's super simple. It's just an eating style where most of your food comes from plants. Now, that word most is the real key here. This isn't some strict all-or-nothing club with a bunch of rules. The whole idea is to focus on adding more plants to your plate, not just on what you're cutting out. Now, this is where things can get a little confusing, so let's clear it up. Think of plant-based as this big, flexible umbrella. Underneath it, you've got the more specific labels. A vegetarian, for example, doesn't eat meat, poultry, or fish, but they might still have eggs or cheese. A vegan takes it one step further and avoids all animal products. We're talking no meat, no dairy, no eggs, not even honey. But plant-based? It's the most flexible approach of all. Someone eating this way might have plants 90% of the time, but still enjoy a little fish or dairy here and there. That's why they're sometimes called flexitarians. So what's the big deal? Why is everyone talking about this? In this next part, we're going to look at the really powerful reasons people are making this shift, not just for themselves, but for the planet too. Take a good look at this number, 71%. According to the World Health Organization, that's the percentage of all deaths across the globe caused by what they call non-communicable diseases, or NCDs. That's not a small number. That is absolutely staggering. So what exactly are these NCDs? Well, they're the major chronic illnesses we hear about all the time: heart disease, many types of cancer, respiratory diseases, and diabetes. And here is the really important link. The science is overwhelming that a healthy, whole food, plant-based diet can dramatically lower your risk for these diseases. It's honestly one of the most powerful tools we have for prevention. And you know what? The benefits go way beyond our own health. Just check out the environmental impact here. Livestock farming, raising animals for food, is responsible for about 18% of all greenhouse gas emissions. Now get this, that is more than every single car, truck, airplane, and ship on the planet combined. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about how a small shift on our plates can make such a huge difference. Okay, but here's where we need to press pause for a second. Just because something has plant-based slapped on the label, it doesn't automatically make it healthy. This next part is absolutely crucial, because not all plant-based diets are created equal. Let that sink in for a moment. Eating plant-based isn't always healthy. I know, it sounds a little contradictory, but it's 100% true. You could technically live on a diet of French fries, sugary sodas, and white bread. And yep, that would be plant-based, but no one would ever call it healthy. And this slide just breaks it down perfectly. A healthy plant-based diet, that's all about whole foods, things that look like they actually came from the ground. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes. An unhealthy one, that relies on all the ultra-processed stuff. So the big takeaway here is that what you add to your diet is every bit as important as what you take away. So what should you be looking for? Well, a really healthy plant-based diet is built around these 5 core food groups. We're talking about unrefined grains like brown rice, protein-packed legumes and nuts, a whole rainbow of different fruits and vegetables, and those delicious, filling root veggies like sweet potatoes. Variety really is your best friend here. And if you want a super simple, visual way to build your meals, this is it. It's the healthy plate model. It is so easy. Just fill half, yes, half of your plate with vegetables. Then fill 1/4 with whole grains, and the last quarter with a healthy protein source like lentils, tofu, or beans. If you can aim for this at most of your meals, you are golden. All right, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually make it happen in real life? And, stick with it. In our last section, we're going to cover some simple first steps and a few common pitfalls you'll want to avoid. My best advice? Just start small. You really don't have to go all in overnight. Maybe try something like Meatless Monday, or just focus on making one of your meals each day plant-based. Another great technique is what's called crowding out.
Instead of thinking about what to remove, just add more and more veggies and beans to your plate until there's less room for anything else. And hey, don't forget, you can adapt the dishes you already love. A tom yum with mushrooms or a stir fry with tofu can be just as amazing. Now, it's also important to be smart about your nutrition, especially if you're aiming for a more strict vegetarian or vegan approach. Vitamin B12 is the big one to watch. It's almost only found in animal products, so long-term vegans will probably need a supplement. As for protein, just make sure you eat a good variety of foods. That classic combo of rice and beans, that actually creates a complete protein. And just be mindful about getting enough iron and calcium from plants, like leafy greens, lentils, and sesame seeds. And this right here really gets to the heart of making any change last. Healthy eating has to be happy eating. If it feels like a punishment or a chore, you're just not going to stick with it. The secret is to find the healthy, plant-based foods that you genuinely love to eat and build your meals around those. So let's end right back where we started, thinking about your next meal. You don't have to change everything all at once. Just ask yourself this one simple question. For my next meal, can I add just one more thing that comes from a plant? Maybe that's a handful of spinach, a side of beans, or grabbing an apple for a snack. That one small choice, well, that's how every lasting change begins. Thanks for tuning in.